Okay, sir, we will start now. 150 doctors have joined the session.
Great.
Okay. So, good evening to all dignitaries. On behalf of Corona Remedies, I'm Shraddha, would like to welcome you all to the Nerve Nirman Meet. Today's topic is nerve injury post-COVID-19. Today, it is our privilege that Dr. V.K. Jagnani is amongst us as a speaker. And he is highly qualified consultant physician, diabetologist, and cardiologist. Let me give a brief introduction about the doctor. So Dr. V.K. Jagnani has an experience of more than 20 years in this field. He has completed his MBBS from University of Mumbai, and he has done his diploma in cardiology from Apollo Hospital. And he is also certified diabetologist from UK in 2011. He is heart failure, hypertension, lipid and thyroid specialist. He is a fellow of Cardiacon. He is founder president of Jharkhand IACC, Indian Association of Clinical Cardiologists. He is also organizing chairman of IACCon 2016, and he's an executive member of Jharkhand RSSTI. He is also a member of some eminent scientific bodies like Federation of Jharkhand Chamber of Commerce and Industries, European Association of Cardiovascular Imaging, Indian Academy of Endocardiography, Indian Association of Sexology, Indian Thyroid Society, Cardiological Society of India, Jharkhand chapter, and Indian Medical Association. So, Doctor, it is our honor to be part of a speaker in this Nerve Nirman meet. And for all the participants, I wish all the participants the very best. And this entire session will definitely be enriching experience for all of us. With this, I welcome Dr. V.K. Jagnani and hand over to you session, sir. Hand over the sessions to you. So you can continue, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Shraddha ji. I am really humbled by the elaborate introduction that you have given to me. I don't know how come you got all this information, but once again, thanks a lot for this. And a warm welcome to all the delegates for this post-COVID CME, focusing on the nerve damage, which is quite common that is happening in this situation. Also, at the outset, I would like to thank Corona Remedies to organize the CME. So to begin with, let's talk about nerve injury post-COVID-19 in a banner of Nerve Nirman Meet under the banner of Jharkhand IACC. We all know that COVID-19 presents with fever, dry cough, and fatigue in milder cases, which may progress to severe acute respiratory distress syndrome following corona infection in the lungs. It has also been found in a study in which more than 200 individuals were enrolled suffering from corona. Almost 10% reported to have involvement of nervous system, both central and peripheral. Also, it has been found that those patients who come out of the corona infection have a long-term sequelae and have rehabilitation concerns in terms of neuromuscular involvement. So with this basic thing which we are seeing right now in post-COVID patients and during the COVID infection also, we progress to understand why and how this is happening. It has been understood that there is direct as well as indirect involvement of the nervous system towards COVID infection involving olfactory nerve directly along with the circulating blood which goes into the cerebrum and cerebellum. Also, there are ACE2 inhibitors, angiotensin converting enzyme 2 type inhibitor receptors into the brain stem, which is actually distributed throughout the body. And this is one of the important receptors through which the coronavirus gets into the body. It leads on to the immune injury involving the neuronal pathways. It also involves the enteric nervous system and the sympathetic afferent neurons of the gastrointestinal tract and involves the central nervous system through this pathway also. So we are seeing both the direct and indirect route for the COVID infection to involve the nervous system. In the mild patients, patient may present with headache, hyposmia or anosmia, that is loss of smell and loss of taste along with muscular pain. In severe or advanced cases, patient may present with delirium, impaired consciousness, anxiety, pyramidal symptoms, sometimes stroke because of the increased coagulopathy because of the hyperinflammatory response of the body towards the coronavirus. It also causes muscle damage leading on to increase in creatinine kinase. So it is affecting the various systems of the body, and we know that there is no part of the body which is not supplied with the nervous system. It has detrimental effect on the lung tissue, leading on to viral pneumonitis and hypoxia, sometimes leading on to mechanical ventilation in some of the patients, which may have an adverse effect in terms of both morbidity and mortality. It causes fibrosis of the lung in the process of recovery from corona infection. When the coronavirus enters the cell, it causes replication, which is quite fast, and there is hyperimmune response. A lot of inflammatory markers are being released to counter this coronavirus, but still, this coronavirus goes on multiplying, and this inflammatory markers, inflammatory response which is occurring is in many of patients and those who have severe symptoms is unable to counteract all the viral load which is occurring, and therefore the patient has severe respiratory or severe symptoms in some of the patients. In those patients which are suffering from mild symptoms, either the viral load is less or the immune system of the individual is able to overcome the viral invasion which is occurring into the body. This is being reflected in terms of the antibody which is being formed against the coronavirus. And we know that the most easiest way, the most favorite way of coronavirus to enter into the body is through angiotensin converting enzyme type 2 receptors. Uh, Now, what are the factors which promote nerve damage in COVID-19? One of them is prolonged hospitalization, because during that period, patient may not have sufficient mobility. many of the nervous reflexes are not being used, which is so during a normal physiological day of an individual. This leads on to peripheral nerve abnormality along with progressing to polyneuropathy. Also, prolonged position in a particular way, lying down or supine or prone or lateral side, which is quite long than a normal individual who is not in hospital, has increased chances of neurological damage. The prone positioning, which is being advised to improve the oxygenation and better oxygen saturation on the oximeter, is also an important cause of the nervous damage. This probably is due to the stretching of the nerves and the muscles, or because of the abnormal damage towards the nerve. Along with that, there's also some inflammatory response, the position-related peripheral neuropathy of the extremity. So all these things also occur along with the COVID-related neuropathy, which may present as progressive or sudden onset weakness of the neuromuscular system. This is probably occurring due to the hypoechogenicity of the thickened nerve, which might happen in such situations. Taking some examples in form of a case study, this is an image of a 21-year-old male who suffered from COVID-19 with prolonged hospitalization due to acute respiratory distress syndrome and was intubated, and also was put in prone position during his hospitalization to improve the oxygen saturation. The patient then presented with the weakness and loss of abduction towards left shoulder. Also, there was brachial plexus injury, which was suspected clinically and confirmed on magnetic resonance neurography. Also, the sagittal sampling of the application optimized contrast induced flip angle evolution, that is space technology, and short tau inversion recovery, that is STIR technology, which was used using contrast, showed vascular compression of C5 and C6 cervical fifth and sixth nerve roots, as shown in this diagram with the help of arrows. Also, it showed hyperintensity of both the lateral and posterior cords at the suprascapular nerve, leading on to the enhancement of the compression of the vascular system. So, this magnetic MRI of the nerves showed confirmed the neuropathy in this particular individual. Another study of a 45-year-old male who is a known case of gout and diabetes was admitted for management of COVID infection and had a prolonged stay because of the rehabilitation which was required for this particular patient. He developed new onset numbness of fourth and fifth fingers of the left upper limb. He also had a weakened grip and lesser pinprick sensation on the ulnar side of the hands and fingers. The electrophysiological evidence suggested that there was incomplete ulnar mononeuropathy, axonal loss, and there was no re-innervation seen in this particular patient. Also, there was severity of injury into the axonal system. Therefore, electromyography could not localize the exact site of injury. The axial inversion of the right elbow showed ulnar nerve involvement just below the elbow. The MRI finding confirmed the neuropathy of the ulnar nerve. Another case of a 66-year-old female who is a known case of carcinoma of breast was once again here also hospitalized for COVID-19 infection, had respiratory failure, had to be intubated, and was put on prone position during her hospital stay. The patient had moderate to severe right upper extremity weakness. The clinical suspicion was thought because of the prone positioning, leading on to the involvement of peripheral nerve, ultimately injury of the median nerve as shown on ultrasonography of the nervous system with moderate hypoechogenicity and thickening of the nerve along with the fascicular involvement at the level of the wrist. The posterior interosseous nerve shown on ultrasonography has spinator musculature of the right side. Once again, the patient was confirmed case of polyneuropathy due to the COVID-19 infection. So we see that there are various presentations of different patients involving the nervous system of different area wherever there is a compression, probably due to the position of the patient. Also, cranial nerve involvement have been seen irrespective of age, gender, presenting as taste and smell disorder or vision loss or hearing loss, sometimes vertigo, swelling disorders, hoarseness of voice, facial hyposthesia, which generally goes away by a month. But sometimes it may take up to 6 weeks, 3 months, or even 6 months for complete recovery. It has been observed that those individuals who receive proper treatment for COVID-19 infection have better, better outcomes. It has been observed that most of the patients have sensory involvement in most of the situations. Motor involvement is little less observed in COVID-19 infection. So to summarize, we can say that the neuropathy presents like numbness in arms and legs, sometimes stabbing pain or burning pain, sometimes hypersensitivity to touch. There is difficulty in coordination, muscular weakness is observed, and in some patients, bowel and bladder problems are also observed. So these are some of the presentations of the neuropathy in such situations. So how do we manage such patients? First of all, we need to have good glycemic control. Either it is new onset, probably due to the management of COVID-19 situations where steroids are being used, or the COVID in itself can cause hyperglycemia due to the inflammatory process which is occurring due to the COVID infection. Also, in those patients who are known case of diabetes, have higher chances of loss of glycemic control. So that needs to be controlled very adequately. We need to be very open to start insulin and up titrate the doses. It may require 100, 200, 300 units of insulin per day. We must not hesitate in using insulin in such patients, but we must try and control the blood sugar levels in such a way that the fasting is around about 100 milligram percent and the PPG is around about 150 milligram percent. We may require tricyclic antidepressants such as amitriptyline or nortriptyline, depending on the patient's condition, either as antidepressant or as feature of neuropathy like tingling, numbness, or pain. Sometimes anti-epileptic drugs such as gabapentin and pregabalin are also used in painful neuropathy, and there they are drug of choice. Methylcobalamin is a neuroprotective medicine which helps in regeneration of the myelin sheath in any neuropathy and is very much helpful in patients of neuropathy of COVID origin. So I can say that COVID-19 has given a lot of new information to the healthcare system. We are learning every day something new. We are trying to update ourselves. We are trying to understand virus much better than what we used to have in our MBBS days. I just want to say here a few lines. When this corona came about a year back, we just went back to see our books whether this was there in our books on syllabus. We found that we have read the viruses, but we have left coronavirus probably because that was not important at that time. We were not seeing such cases. But corona is not something new which is happening here. Only the strain is new, but it has been there since ages. We are just trying to learn about the newer strain of corona. We are trying to upgrade ourselves. We are trying to make vaccines, upgrading the vaccines so as to take care of the various strains which is coming up every day, so as to prevent the sequelae and long-term outcomes associated with COVID infection. We have understood the various mechanisms for peripheral and the central nervous injury which might occur due to COVID infection, as we've seen in few slides, which involves the inflammatory changes which is occurring, nerve entrapment, the position of the patient, the mechanical ventilation, the prolonged stay in the hospital, the disease in itself. So it is a multifactorial system which has various complications and has systemic involvement, which could be direct or indirect neuroinvasion, along with autoimmune response, and more it increases in those patients who are already a known case of diabetes or obese or elderly or have hyperinflammatory response due to any other disorders. So if there is any comorbid condition, the risk of these complications increase further. So we must take care of the COVID in itself, along with the other signs and symptoms, other problems which might occur to the patient in terms of neuropathy, with the available medicines which we have to have the good quality of life for the patient. Also, the involvement of nervous lesion can be life-threatening at some times and definitely has a negative impact on quality of life. So proper treatment is important of the infection along with the comorbid conditions. We still want to study more about its clinical manifestation and how to prevent these, and how to how to diagnose early to prevent the neurological complications so as to have appropriate treatment for the given patient. With that, I would like to thank you all for your patient listening, and we can have some questions, answers if there are any.
Sir, we got some questions from participants. Should I push it to you, sir?
Sure, sure.
Yes. So one question is coming. It is that can you overuse of steroid damages the nerve, and how to prevent this nerve damage?
The thing is, we have set protocol that what dose of steroid is to be used in what situations. In mild to moderate case, we are using something around 0.5 milligram per kg per day of methylprednisolone. In severe cases, we can go up to 2 milligram per kg, for up to maybe 1 milligram also milligram per kg per day in two divided doses. So that is an optimal therapy. So in this way, we can avoid overusing of steroids. That is one. We cannot go away in treatment of COVID without steroids. Of course, we have to give the antivirals, we have to give the other medicines, whatever is required depending on the need of the patient. Now, first thing is very clear that we cannot go without a steroid. We have to optimize the treatment. Now, if there is any neurological damage, if there is any neurological involvement we are seeing, in that situation, we must act according to the need of the each patient. If we are seeing any neurological involvement, if there is simple numbness, we can go with methylcobalamin. If we have pain along with that, we may add gabapentin or pregabalin. If we are not getting sufficient result, we can also add amitriptyline. So we have to act like that. We cannot go without it. We also have to take care of the blood sugar levels or sometimes the blood pressure levels, which are also quite commonly occurring or getting abnormal in patients who are receiving steroids during the treatment of COVID infection. So we must use insulin to control the blood sugar levels and maintain it within the normal range, both fasting and PP.
आप मुझे दिखा भी नहीं है
Right. So there is another question. Patients who have recovered from COVID-19 have a problem of headache and facial pain. So what should be clinical approach to those patients?
In facial pain and headache, it is a first of all, we should rule out hypertension by measuring blood pressure with a standard mercury sphygmomanometer. That is one thing. Another thing, For facial involvement, it's a good idea to use tricyclic antidepressant, that is amitriptyline, along with methylcobalamin. We may need to use vitamin D, multivitamin, and calcium. Whenever we're using vitamin D, we must add calcium to the prescription to have required effect.
So patients with severe neuropathy, what would be duration of full recovery and line of treatment?
Neuropathy usually takes minimum of 6 weeks, but may take up to 6 months, depending on the patient to patient. Elderly take little longer time, diabetics take little longer time, younger one will take little lesser time. It will also depend on the severity of the COVID infection which has occurred to the patient, his physical activity, how much he is being active post COVID situations is he, and we must not overdo exercise also. That is very important, because post COVID myocardial infarction is also occurring. So we have to balance everything. Basic exercise, simple walking, maybe short duration with multiple times in a day, with all those nutrients which we just talked: calcium, vitamin D, multivitamin, methylcobalamin. Then, depending on the neurological involvement, either pregabalin or and amitriptyline, we have to individualize the treatment depending on his situation. It may take 6 weeks to 6 months.
Right. So patients post COVID-19 are complaining about low back pain. So is it a sign of nerve damage?
It could be. It could be. If the patient is willing for investigation, then we can go with the MRI of the lumbosacral spine. But if we are not in that situation, we can clinically examine the patient by leg raising test and by simple pressure on the light pressure on the lumbosacral spine, and we can understand the site of injury, and accordingly we can advise him some light physiotherapy along with the medicines which can improve the nervous system, like methylcobalamin with calcium and vitamin D.
Right. If any more questions from participants on Zoom platform, they can share with us. Okay, I think no more questions. So should I conclude, sir?
Okay.
Yes. So good evening, doctors. What an enlightening evening it was. So on behalf of Corona Remedies, I congratulate our speaker, Dr. V.K. Jagnani, sir, for giving us time from his busy schedule and sharing his clinical experience and knowledge with us. So thank you so much for being part of Navnirman Meet, sir. And I would also like to thank each participants for participating in this Navnirman Meet. Thank you all so much, and we will see you very soon again with another Navnirman Meet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shraddha ji. Thank you, Corona Remedies, and thanks all the delegates for attending this. With that, I'll take a leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
May I?